Welcome to another weekly edition of the Hellraiser blog with Mickey Helliott. We're at the Millennium Hotel in Gloucester Road, and how do you like the new buffers on the videos, Mickey?
Do you know, we've got so much feedback about them. Good work. Good work, guys.
Thank you. Burns night was last night. Your show at Park Lane Hotel.
Yes.
How did it go?
Once a year, Mayfair Sporting Club, we do a Burns night, black tie, boxing dinner. Really good.
Good fun.
Punters obviously, make it what it is. We have like a reciter, like traditional Scottish. I remember the first time that I used to work at Cafe Royal running the boxing there for 6 years, and the first time the boss of Cafe Royal said, right, we're doing this Burns night, I thought, like it's a Scottish thing, is there going to be like a backlash, English people that don't like the Scottish or something? But actually there's people turning up in kilts and all sorts of things going on, and really it's been a huge success for us. That's really
haggis are plenty.
Haggis that I never thought I would like, but actually I did. Whiskey, which I'm not a big fan of, but for one night a year I can.
If you don't mind, I'd like to talk about the heavyweight division in general, and we'll kick off with David Haye has announced his next fight.
Yes, and again I was surprised. I thought firstly Sky missed a marketing trick by not broadcasting their first one, but look, maybe they can't couldn't reach their terms with it. Happens in boxing sometimes. I assume that's what happened, because that's very good for Sky, because obviously to build the very obvious payday for Sky and for Haye and for Joshua is for them all to do business together. Got very high viewing figures on Dave, so from that point of view I think they would see it as a success. I'm not sure how many of the people in the venue actually paid. I'm sure that, I know that some of them didn't, because I was getting offered free tickets on the day, so I know some of them at least were not, so it's difficult to gauge from that point of view. But look, 3 million viewers, that's 3 million viewers on a channel that never gets anywhere near that, so it was David Haye that brought those viewers to the channel. Also, although there's been a lot of criticism of the opponent, the guy was, terrible. It was David Haye's first fight for 3.5 years. That's, it's really, I think the only criticism from my side would be it was a top of the bill, and it wasn't worthy of top of the bill, because it was basically a run out to blow out the cobwebs and get back into business. But the knockout itself, I think, is exactly what you need to build a pay-per-view fight, because you put that into the show reel of the fight, when you're trying to build it up, and that's one that will build a load of pay-per-view. When he goes back to Sky to do the big deal with Joshua, by using that footage for marketing purposes, they'll add massively to the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
How strong Haye's position will be, I think it's definitely a lot stronger for him having stayed independent, not signed a long-term deal and just let Matchroom organise everything. I think, but it surely will be costing him in the build-up, so that's a stress, and it puts a bit of pressure onto him.
Do you think he'll do that for his next fight at the O2 then? Do you think he'll do it all again himself?
I think he will.
Yeah?
I think he will. He seems like that kind of guy that wants to do it his way and have his own thing. I think it will sell better next time than this one. I think there was a huge, I think I mentioned in the blog previously, there was like a thing on Facebook, like an advert that David Haye put a clip on, and it was just full of abuse. It was like absolutely packed, you get a load. So I think now you're still going to get some abuse, but you're also going to get some people start getting excited, and the heavyweight scene generally is really getting exciting now. You've got Haye, Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, bad knockout, wasn't it?
He's got, and he is, he's a big puncher. He's the sort of fight that you want in big fights in the heavyweight division. Not guys like Klitschko was criticised for being very boring, for want of a better word. He's very sort of did the bare minimum, boxed a lot of cruiserweights, moving up.
Hasn't really impressed though since he dethroned Bermane Stiverne, though, has he? He was behind on the scorecard.
He's fighting much better people now.
Yeah,
because it's got to be guys that are at the top of the WBC. The WBC, I guess, says they've had some fighters rated in there previously, but it's much less frequent. You see a guy entering their ratings who really shouldn't be there. Like this guy that fought Haye apparently was in one governing bodies. How can that happen?
Probably the WBA.
I think it was the WBA.
Yeah,
he's got no business being.
No. Present at the Wilder fight was our own Tyson Fury. What did you make of him being there, and also his IBF title being won by Charles Martin? And
I think it's poor form to strip him, for one. I understand sanctioning bodies have to enforce mandatories. Otherwise, the guy that's mandatory is going to say, "What's the point of me doing my final eliminate? I paid all the sanctioning fees. I've been loyal to your governing body. I've worked by your rules, and then I've been made mandatory. And now I'm mandatory. I should have a time phase within which I've fought the title. And now you're going to try and tell me he's going to go and fight somewhere else. Well, it's not right that way either. But I just think it's a horrible aspect of boxing that, you know, look, Fury beat the man that beat the man that beat the man, so Fury should be the champion. Whoever beats Fury, when and if, then they should be the champion. Charles Martin, he boxed a fight that I managed, Rafael Zambano, last year in Oklahoma. We went out there. Sorry, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was Oklahoma. No, it wasn't. It was somewhere else, like wherever it was. It was out in America.
Okay.
He did impress me. He's not a one-punch. You'd see a lot of stoppages on his record. He's not a one-punch knockout man, and probably, you know, his punches hard enough to knock some people out of one punch, but he hasn't really shown that. Certainly when he boxed Zambano, but he ground him down very methodically, and he did stop him. You know, I mean, I think it's about the ninth round he stopped him. And he was a hurtful puncher. He's an interesting addition. He was like an American footballer that Jonathan King, the American impresario, sort of entrepreneur, the guy that invited the Jeopardy game show, and a load of other very well-known sort of American game shows. So he was like a multi-billionaire. Died unfortunately last year. Did all the work to get Charles Martin up there, put all the funding and money in, and died unfortunately before could see the fruits of his labour. But one of the things that he tried and did, and obviously he's done it successfully, was to sign up this American footballer. He signed up a whole load of them, and from them came Charles Martin, who's now has won the world heavyweight title, albeit
controversial.
Yeah.
Can you see that title changing hands soon?
It wouldn't surprise me. I would imagine for his first defence, they'll be looking to sort of probably get some more wins and get some yardage, because they put the hard work to get the title shot, and you know they did it very well. Can't say any other. You know, they really put it. I think as well as could possibly done for Charles Martin. He's a nice guy actually. We stayed in the same hotel as him when we were out there. Got a little boy who's a really good sort of person to be. You know, if you're sat in a hotel in the middle of nowhere, really, with there was about 6 people that were there the whole time, so you get to know them quite well. So we were there and got to know him and his little lad, and you know, I wish him all the best. Whether he can crack it when he actually fights the top guys, I wouldn't say he can't, but I'd say, you know, Fury beats him for my money. Joshua beats him although I would say he's probably got a good style for Joshua, because this guy quite tight defensively. He's trained by what's his name? The ex-Olympian that boxed Tillman, Henry Tillman, who was a very nice guy as well. So we spent a lot of time talking with Tillman and with Charles Martin, and I can see their philosophy. You know, they're a very mature guy. For a guy that hasn't had like amateur experience and, you know, this sort of thing, or much amateur experience, the things he was coming out with, you can see he's obviously been educated in boxing. People around him have talked a lot of sense to him, and he would be interested with Joshua, because if he gets through the first 3 or 4 rounds, he might be a very tidy boxer, a handful for Joshua. That'd be a good fight.
Well, let's talk about Joshua, because I know the European title's been vacated, and there's a suggestion that Joshua could fight Chisora for that title.
I think that is what happened.
Yeah.
Matchroom have signed him probably for the reason that they could see he was going to be next in line and difficult to sidestep it. They're not going to want to. I think he'll want to win the European title and to probably defend it. The fight with Chisora doesn't really get me excited in the way that even Dillian White, because he boxed on my shows, I knew him quite well. and I saw what he did to the opponents in those fights that I know weren't patsies. They were guys that, he was if you're going to go anywhere, you have to beat them. But the manner in which he beat them made me quite excited about White, and made me think, well, okay, this is a guy that is underrated. People aren't noticing him. They think, oh, he's just padded record. We'll go and bash him up. Well, that's not what happened. He did get stopped in the end, but he surprised a lot of people. It didn't really surprise me. I predicted on the Hellraiser blog that I thought Joshua will win, but I also felt very strongly that White can cause him a lot of problems, which he did. And
you think Chisora might be?
I think experience-wise, it certainly is. I think White will be hungrier for longer in a fight than what Chisora will be now. Chisora's been around the block a few times. Chisora's disappointed, apart from the Vitaly Klitschko fight, when he's been stepped up to the high level, and it was a poor Vitaly, which may have been a big contributor to why he performed so sort of well on that day. I would still watch it. It's not a fight that I sort of think, I'm just not even going to bother turning the TV on for. I will, but more to see Joshua, and I think it's inevitable. He beats Chisora. Heavyweight boxing, anything can happen. So.
Also, I just wanted to mention, we were talking about the IBF there. I wanted to mention the WBA and the tournament that they've proposed. I'm not sure if it's set in stone, but
I don't think it's set in stone. I've heard rumours and different names coming up, but then when you look at the names, a lot of them are tangled up politically and management-wise with different people that don't particularly normally work together or are not keen to. So the validity, and maybe it's just sort of trying to drum up some publicity for something that are quite unlikely to happen.
I thought it was rich because the WBA, following suit to the IBF, maybe not recognising Tyson Fury as their champion.
I think that's to their discretion. Whoever, I understand the politics of it and the rules and everything. I think whoever does not go with Tyson Fury as the champion, they're missing out. They're the best. The guy that everyone in the world recognises as champion is not your champion. What value then does their belt have? It basically becomes a piece of plastic. It's a valuable piece of plastic, but it's not the world heavyweight title in most people's eyes.
Well, Mickey, thank you for this chat about. It was a heavyweight special edition. We'll catch up with you next time.
Cheers very much, Sean.